Ready? إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam and those in humanity, may peace and blessings be upon you all. It is an enormous privilege and an honor for us as the Manchester Community and Youth Project to be hosting you this year for these Majalis of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. On behalf of the organizers of this Majlis, we convey to you the sincerest of our condolences on the tragedy of Aba Abdullah al-Hussain alayhi salam. May Allah accept your mourning and may Allah give you the ajr for this remembrance of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. As is the tradition, as we have been doing for the last 7 nights, this is the 7th Majlis today, that we begin and open the Majlis with the remembrance of Sayyid Shuhada and the recitation of Ziarat Ashura and the Holy Quran. We are enormously privileged and honored that we have an excellent Quran and Dua reciter with us, our brother, dear Qari Mustafa Al-Ali. I would be honored if you would welcome our brother Qari Mustafa Al-Ali to the minbar to begin the program through recitation of Ziarat Ashura. Please welcome him with the loudest of your voices and the warmest of your salawats.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين وابن سيدي الوصيين. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة سيدتي نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. السلام عليك وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. يا أبا عبد الله، لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت وعظمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام، وجلت وعظمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت. ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم. ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشياعهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله، إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان. ولعن الله بني أمية قاطبة. ولعن الله ابن مرجانة. ولعن الله عمر بن سعد. ولعن الله شمرا. ولعن الله أمة أسرجت وألجمت وتنقبت لقتالك بأبي أنت وأمي، لقد عظم مصابي بك، فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب أثارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين عليه السلام في الدنيا والآخرة يا أبا عبد الله. إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك، وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونصب لك الحرب، وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم، وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس ذلك وبنى عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشياعكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم، وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم والبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب، وبالبراءة من أشياعهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة، وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة. وأسأل أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله، وأن يرزقني طلب ثاري مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم وبالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يعطيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يعطي مصابا بمصيبته مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تناله منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللعين ابن اللعين على لسانك ولسان نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله في كل موطن وموقف وقف فيه نبيك صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم العن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليهم منك اللعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعن منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم واللعنة عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم العن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم العن العصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وتابعت وبايعت على قتله. اللهم العنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الثانية والثالثة والرابع. اللهم العن يزيد خامسا، والعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانا، وعمر بن سعد وشمرة، وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم، الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا مهجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوات.
Thank you, Brother Mustafa, for that beautiful recitation of Ziarat Ashura. Please thank him by reciting a loud salawat. I'd now like to invite Sister Tan'im Zahra Raza, and she wishes to recite a little bit of the Holy Quran. Please welcome her. If she's somewhere in the audience, please welcome her with a loud salawat. Please recite another salawat as she makes her way up. And another one for the love of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam.
صلوات. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والفجر وليال عشر والشفع والوتر والليل إذا يسر هل في ذلك قسم لذي حجر ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بعاد إرم ذات العماد التي لم يخلق مثلها في البلاد وثمود الذين جابوا الصخر بالواد وفرعون ذي الأوتاد الذين طغوا في البلاد فأكثروا فيها الفساد فصب عليهم ربك صوت عذاب إن ربك لبالمرصاد فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن وأما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه رزقه فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ بجهنم يومئذ يتذكر الإنسان وأنى له الذكرى يقول يا ليتني قدمت لحياتي فيومئذ لا يعذب عذابه أحد ولا يوثق وثاقه أحد يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على رسول الله وآله الأطهار على رسول الله
Thank you very much, Sister Tan'eem Raza, for that beautiful recitation of the verses of Surah Al-Fajr, which is also known as the surah associated with Imam Al-Hussain alayhi salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for the recitation of these verses. Please thank Tan'eem Raza by reciting a loud salawat. I'd now like to invite a young brother, Muhammad Bahjat, to come up and recite a few verses of the Holy Quran. Please welcome him with a loud salawat.
Salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تسلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين آنية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إن إلينا إيابهم ثم إن إلينا حسابهم صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات.
Thank you, Muhammad Bahjat, for the recitation of the Holy Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. And it is heartwarming to see young children coming up and reciting Quran in the Majlis of Imam Al-Hussain alayhi salam. Please thank him once more by reciting a loud salawat. This program, these Majalis, this is the 7th night of these Majalis, which is being held under the auspices of the Manchester Community and Youth Project. Our aspiration as an organization is to help Mu'mineen and the community and be Manchester's leading social welfare organization. We were founded in 2016 and registered as a charity in December of 2016. This year is our 8th year in operation, and over the last 8 years, we have given approximately £1.5 million in grants, loans, and other forms of help to various communities and various projects here in the UK and abroad in Pakistan, in Iraq, in Iran, and in other countries. Just last year, our turnover as a small organization for Manchester was just around £300,000, which is really quite a testament to members of this community who gave wholeheartedly in support of some of our projects. Every Friday, we circulate a Sadaqah appeal, which contains a number of cases for help from our referral routes, different referral routes. These are all verified cases. Some of those cases are related to medical aid, some of those are related to education, some of those are related to helping orphans, all things which are highly recommended and highly encouraged by our religion and by the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. So our humble request as an organization is to partner with us for you to enter into a commitment with us, and you can do so by becoming a donor through filling out one of the standing order forms. Interestingly, the word standing order is quite linked to the Imam al-Qa'im. So if you want to think of the standing order as your commitment to your Imam, then fill out one of the standing order forms which you can receive from one of the fundraisers or one of the volunteers at the fundraising stall. I now have a brief video which my colleagues in the AV team will play, which contains a reel of our different appeals, including the 313 appeal, which is one method that we have thought that perhaps we can use to help this Majlis. So please recite a loud salawat as that is being put up. Salawat.
Hussain, 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 Hussain. حبيبي حسين 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 حسين.
Thank you for watching. This is just one suggested way in which you can support this Majlis as a family. Perhaps you can donate £313 in the name of the companions of the Imam of our time to forge a link between you and the Imam and the Majlis of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. I'd now like to welcome a little sister. Her name is Darood Fatima. Please welcome her by reciting a loud salawat.
Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. I'm sorry, O Rabab, they killed Ali Asghar. This battle is vicious with enemies many, all after my head, for I'm the son of Ali. My existence a reminder of treasury, how their wealth is built on my mother's misery, and how they tortured the Prophet's great progeny, and how they tortured the Prophet's great progeny. They want to end my reign, and to remove my name, and when to end my reign, and to remove my name. God's pleasure is my aim, by him my light remains. Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. I'm sorry, O Rabab, they killed Ali Asghar. Along with me came my family to support. I see them as patient, although their men all fought. With fallen brothers, husbands, skin and kids destroyed. Their strength is unmatched, with patience and prayer not short. They stand tall with fearless hearts despite arrows shot. They stand tall with fearless hearts despite arrows shot. This is my family with so much chivalry, and this is my family with so much chivalry. And when they do see, they all nodded Ali. Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. Allahu Akbar, they killed Ali Asghar. I'm sorry, O Rabab, they killed Ali Asghar. Salawat.
Thank you, Sister Darood Fatima, for that tribute to Hazrat Ali Asghar alayhi salam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of Babul Hawa'ij, Hazrat Ali Asghar, grant you a long, happy, prosperous life. Please thank her by reciting a warm and loud salawat. Our brother Qari Mustafa Al Ali has been reciting some amazing and some really beautiful passages of the Quran in his very beautiful voice. And it's an honor for us as the Manchester Community and Youth Project to be having him and hosting him as part of these majlises, these majalis. I'm now going to invite him back again. Please welcome him with a loud salawat so that he may come up and mesmerize the audience with his beautiful recitation of the Holy Quran. Please welcome him again by reciting a loud salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذ قال إبراهيم رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا واجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام رب إنهن أضللن كثيرا من الناس فمن تبعني فإنه مني ومن عصاني فإنك غفور رحيم وإذ قال إبراهيم رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا واجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام رب إنهن أضللن كثيرا من الناس رب إنهن أضللن كثيرا من الناس فمن تبعني فإنه مني ومن عصاني فإنك غفور رحيم ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا إني أسكنت من ذريتي بواد غير ذي زرع عند بيتك المحرم ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة ربنا ليقيموا الصلاة فاجعل أفئدة من الناس تهوي إليهم وارزقهم من الثمرات وارزقهم من الثمرات لعلهم يشكرون ربنا إنك تعلم ما نخفي وما نعلن ربنا إنك تعلم ما نخفي وما نعلن وما يخفى على الله من شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء الحمد لله الذي وهب لي على الكبر إسماعيل وإسحاق إن ربي لسميع الدعاء رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة رب اجعلني مقيم مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعائي ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعمل الظالمون إنما يؤخرهم ليوم تشخص فيه الأبصار صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات
Thank you, Brother Mustafa, for that beautiful recitation. May Allah increase your tawfiqat. Please join me in thanking Brother Mustafa by reciting a warm salawat. I'd now like to invite a young boy who's come from Bradford. He wishes to recite for a couple of minutes. Please welcome Brother Hussain Ali by reciting a loud salawat.
Salawat. माह की दुलारे अली असगर आंखों की तारे अली असगर आग लगी है खैमों में आग लगी है खैमों में ऐ मेरे प्यारे अली असगर माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर जालिम ने तुझे कब्र से इस तरह निकाला सीने पे लगा जिसकी बेता तेरी नेज़ा लाशे को तेरे देख के बोला सर अकबर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर कातिल तेरा मिल जाए तू खुद पूछे लो उससे क्या जुर्म तजमा के बच्चे का बता दे उसने तो बुलाया नहीं माँ भी मुझे कहकर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर अब तक मेरे आंखों से वो मंजर नहीं जाता गर्दन से तेरी खून टपकता रहा बेटा रोमल भी बनाना गया तेरे गले पर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर हाय हाय अली असगर हाय हाय अली असगर सलवात
Thank you, Hussain Ali, for that beautiful tribute to the youngest martyr of Karbala, Hazrat Ali Asghar. Please thank him by reciting a loud salawat. I've been asked to give you the schedule of the upcoming Masaib and Ziarat. Usually on the 6th of Muharram, traditionally in the Pakistani community at least, we read the Musibah of Hazrat Ali Asghar. But today, however, we'll be reciting the Musibah of Hazrat Qasim alayhi salam and Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Tomorrow, the 7th of Muharram, we have associated with the Musibah of Hazrat Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam. And on the 8th of Muharram, as is the tradition, in the subcontinent at least, we will be having that day dedicated to Mawla Abbas alayhi salam. And on the night of the 9th, Shab-e Ashur, that is when we will be having the martyrdom recitation of Hazrat Ali Asghar alayhi salam. And of course, the Maqtal will be recited here on the 10th of Muharram. And that will begin after the Zohar prayers on Wednesday, the 17th of July. And for that day, I request Mu'mineen humbly from the bottom of my heart that please, please, please attend at the time that is advertised so that we can start the program promptly. That's a humble plea. Thank you. Salawat. There have been some complaints from the back regarding the levels of noise and the level of talking whilst the Majlis, particularly when the recitation of the Holy Quran is going on. So I humbly request that the chatter and the conversation be kept quiet, and you can talk to your heart's content after the Majlis. And you can socialize after the Majlis, please, so that the experience of the Majlis is maintained and the ibadah and the sanctity of the Majlis is not impacted upon through conversation. Secondly, a request from the sisters that when we're praying in congregational prayer towards the end of the Majlis, to the brothers to fill as far in the flanks as is possible and leave some room for the sisters. And particularly if you see a row that is full of children, then some of the adults, grown-ups, should interspace them so that we can observe the proper rules of the congregational prayer, the proper rules of Jama'ah. We requested that you bring your own turbas. We have quite a number of turbas here, but yesterday they were not sufficient, which is, I guess, a positive thing. That means that many more Mu'mineen stayed behind for prayer. So thank you for that, and thank you for staying behind. I'd now like to request my brother Syed Khamis Abbas Rizvi to come up and pay his respects to Sayyid al-Shuhada. Please welcome him by reciting a loud salawat.
आप सबकी इजाजत से मसाइब के चंद अशार फिर भी सलावत।
चलती रही जो हल्क पे शमशीर देर तक, चलती रही जो हल्क पे शमशीर देर तक, मसरूफ बंदगी रहे शबीर देर तक, चलती रही जो हल्क पे शमशीर देर तक, बीमार करबला के कदम चूम चूम कर, जंजीर देर तक, चलती रही जो हल्क पे शमशीर देर तक, कासिम के टुकड़े रेती पे चुलते रहे हुसैन, तस्वीर जोड़ते रहे शबीर देर तक ज़ैना का सिर खुला हुआ बाजार शाम में ज़ैनब का सर खुला हुआ ज़ैनब का सर खुला हुआ बाजार शाम में तकती रही थी चादर ततहीर देर तक अब्बास लेके चुल्लू में आबे फुरात को अब्बास लेके चुल्लू में आबे फुरात को देखा कि ये सकीना की तस्वीर देर तक चलती रही जो हल्क पे चलती रही जो हल्क पे शमशीर देर तक मसरूफ बंदगी रहे शबीर देर तक
Thank you, Brother Khamis. Please thank Khamis for that beautiful recitation by reciting a warm and loud salawat. I'd now like to invite our final reciter before the Syed comes up. I'm enormously honored that our teacher, our respected Ustad, Shahbaz Hussain Khan Sahab is with us. And I would be honored if he comes up and recites for us in this Majlis of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Please welcome Ustad Sahab by reciting a loud salawat.
दुरूद पढ़े मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद पे। ये जनाब सानिया ज़हरा अलैहिस्सलाम की शान में कुछ अशार हैं, आप खिदमत में पेश करते हैं। थोड़ा सा वॉल्यूम दे दीजिएगा प्लीज। ज़ियाए खून शहीदां की दिलकशी ज़ैनब, ज़ियाए खून शहीदा की दिलकशी ज़ैनब, हुसैनियत के चरागों की रोशनी ज़ैनब, ज़ियाए खून शहीदा की दिलकशी ज़ैनब, किया वो राह में बरता कलमा गोयों ने, किया वो राह में बरता कलमा गोयों ने, के जैसे थी ना नवासी रसूल की ज़ैनब, के जैसे थी ना नवासी रसूल की ज़ैनब, अज़ाए शाम ही जिंदगी तमाम हुई, अज़ाए शाम ही जिंदगी तमाम हुई, ना अपने औनो मोहम्मद को रो सकी ज़ैनब, न अपने औनो मोहम्मद को रो सकी ज़ैनब, किसी ने मारा जो पत्थर तो चुप रही, लेकिन किसी ने मारा जो पत्थर तो चुप रही, लेकिन कहा जो बागी किसी ने तो रो पड़ी ज़ैनब, कहा जो बागी किसी ने तो रो पड़ी ज़ैनब, हुसैन हुसैन चूर थे जख्मों से, फिर भी उठ बैठे, हुसैन चूर थे जख्मों से, फिर भी उठ बैठे, कहा जो शिम्र ने खैमे से आ गई ज़ैनब, कहा जो शिम्र ने खैमे से आ गई ज़ैनब, हिजाब में भी जहां से गुजरना मुश्किल था, हिजाब में भी जहां से गुजरना मुश्किल था वहां पे कैसे खुले सर खड़ी रही ज़ैनब वहां पे कैसे खुले सर खड़ी रही ज़ैनब हुसैनियत के चरागों की रोशनी ज़ैनब ज़ियाए खून शहीदां की दिलकशी ज़ैनब दुरूद पढ़े मोहम्मद वाले
Thank you, our respected Ustad, Janab Shabaz Hussain Khan Sahab, for that beautiful tribute to Lady Zainab alayhi salam and recounting the virtues and the merits and the difficulties and the tribulations of Sayyida Zainab along the journey to Sham after the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, and how difficult it must have been for her to have been paraded into the court of Yazid and through the marketplace, which is some of the themes that Ustad Saab was reciting. Please thank him by reciting a warm and loud salawat. In the interest of saving time, I'm not going to give a presentation or a video today. I'm just going to tell you that our organization deals with a number of cases on a weekly basis, cases of help that Mu'mineen from across the world send us, be it somebody's tuition fees or somebody wants to get married or somebody has passed away and they need help with their funeral expenses or anything like that. So we've got these sadaqah boxes at the stalls downstairs. They're free to take. You can pick one up. And there's a number at the back. You can ring the number once the box is full. And that will help us and these mu'mineen enormously. We have ijaza for the collection of khums monies from the offices of Sayyid al-Sistani. So if you wish to give to support this majlis with your khums donations or any of our projects, then come speak to us and our work qualifies for the ijaza. And if you wish to give on an ongoing basis, then you can fill out one of the standing order forms, be it for £5 or £10 or whatever tawfiq you may have, so that we can maintain an ongoing level of support and a relationship. Salawat. Today's Majlis has been sponsored by the family of Syed Sakhi Hussain Shah Sahab, marhum. So there's a request for the Fatiha for Syed Sakhi Hussain Shah Sahab, Syed Salim Shah, Syed Waqarul Hassan Shah, Shoaib Ahmad Ismail, and Syed Fateh Ali Shah. Please put your hands for dua, for the upliftment and the isal of sawab for these marhumeens whose name I have recited, as well as all the other marhumeen of the community and wherever the mu'mineen are. Al-Fatiha. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. صلوات. For the last 5 or 6 nights, I've just been reading to you a very small narrative that I wrote, recounting the events of the day, which I wrote about 7 years or so ago. So today is the narrative for the 6th of Muharram, as I invite our guest, Syed Mahdi. 6th of Muharram, 2 princes and the incitement of war. Once upon a time, there were 2 princes. They were brothers. It came to a time when the older prince was on his deathbed. A terrible poison was taking course through his veins. He was coughing out pieces of his liver. The younger prince comes to see him. He sees the state of his beloved older brother, and he starts to weep. The older prince says, "What grieves you, my brother?" The younger prince replies, "I am aggrieved on account of the harm inflicted on you." The older prince replies, "There is no day like your own, O father of Abdullah. La yawmuka yawm, ya Aba Abdullah. When 30,000 strong will assemble to try and kill you. Today, the 6th of Muharram, is that day where a host of 30,000 men has assembled in Karbala before Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. The sun has set on the 6th of Muharram. The day has passed. Hussain is camped on the banks of the Furat. Water and supplies are running thin. The companies of Sinan ibn Anas arrived today with an army of 9,000 soldiers. Imam al-Hussain goes out to them on a white camel with the Holy Quran in one hand. Aba Abdullah, he is cheerful in catastrophe. He will never humiliate himself. They hear him recite the Quran. They start to cry. They start to weep. Imam al-Hussain is outnumbered this day, but he is not alone. Qasim, the orphan of the older prince, Imam al-Hassan, is with his uncle this day. And to him, death is sweeter than honey. To hear of the story of Qasim and his bravery in Karbala, please welcome Syed Mahdi Al Modarresi. Salawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصل اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين الغرر الميامين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين وحجته على الخلائق أجمعين سيدنا وإمام زماننا وولي نعمتنا مهدي هذه الأمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري فداه أرواح العالمين اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا صاحب الزمان يا صاحب الزمان يا مهدي يا صاحب الزمان يا صاحب الزمان عجل على ظهورك. For the hastening of the reappearance of the Master, the Savior, the Avenger, Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan al-Askari, recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. My dear brothers, respected sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our second Imam, Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba, once gathered his children as well as his nephews. The hadith specifically says, وَلْدَهُ وَوَلْدَ أَخِيهِ, his own children as well as those of Imam al-Hussain. And he addressed them by saying, إِنَّكُمْ صِغَارُ قَوْمٍ وَيُوشَكُ أَن تَكُونُوا كِبَارَ قَوْمٍ آخَرِينَ. Just on this point of Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba, Sayyid Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, the fruit of the eyes of Rasulullah, the flowers of paradise, Imam al-Hasan would sit down and speak to children. That in itself is a lesson for all of us. That as adults, as parents, as uncles, and as older brothers, we should afford those who are younger than us within the family the respect of actually spending time with them, speaking to them, counseling them, advising them. Now, what did the Imam say to them? He said, you are the children, the minors of this family. إنكم صغار قوم. You may be children, you may be young. You may be seen as members of a family where there is hardly any expectations placed on you. You have no responsibilities. And of course, when the person is a child, if they expressed an opinion, if they had any thoughts to share, the adults often don't listen to them. Perhaps for good reason, because they lack experience. They lack an understanding of the world that would provide them with wisdom. So you may be children right now. However, yushaku, meaning in a short amount of time, in the blink of an eye, you will become kibaru qawmin akharin. You will become the adults of another group of people. You are the future, is what the Imam is telling them. You will grow and responsibilities will be placed on your shoulders, and you will have to make decisions, and you will have to lead your families, protect them, look after them, educate them. These are things that you will have to do very soon. So how do you prepare for that transition? The Imam says to them, فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالْعِلْمِ. You must seek an education. You have to learn. You have to educate yourselves. Then the Imam adds more detail. He says to them, فَمَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ مِنْكُمْ أَنْ يَحْفَظْ. And if you are at the age where you can write and read, then do so. The Imam says that you should have a notebook, perhaps, not the words of the Imam, but this is what he's suggesting. Have something in which you write the things that you learn, whether it's from a scholar, qualified speaker, your parents, a good book that you happen to be reading, a word of wisdom that you hear from someone. The Imam says, write it down. وَلْيَضَعْهُ الْوَاحِدُ مِنْكُمْ فِي بَيْتِهِ. Keep that in your home. Keep it close to you. In other words, the youth of our community, the children in our families, they should strive to keep a notebook in order to preserve what they learn. There's a lot of emphasis placed on writing, by the way, in our traditions. Because, and it's interesting, psychologists actually say that the reason writing is such a good tool to memorizing and to instilling the knowledge that you gain is because you can't think about something else while writing. In other words, you could be distracted by the world around you while listening, but when it comes to writing, you have to be focused. And that's why it's important to keep a note of the things that truly matter. Kids in school know this already, but when it comes to religion, unfortunately, this is not common practice. I can see some youth, may Allah bless them, with a pen and paper, writing down what is being taught to them. Now, in another hadith, our sixth Imam, As-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli. He emphasizes not so much the role of the youth and the children, but the role of their parents. The Imam says, إِنَّ أَفْضَلَ مَا وَرَّثَهُ الْآبَاءُ لِلْأَبْنَاءِ. What is the best thing that you can leave your children with when you depart from this world? Most parents, they feel that the best thing they can leave their children with is wealth, a sizable estate, a house where they can live in, especially if the parents themselves came from a background of poverty, financial distress and struggle. And so there is this nagging fear in the back of their minds that I don't want to leave my children with nothing so that they might end up suffering the way I did. And that's a reasonable thing to strive towards. However, the Imam says, the best thing a parent can leave their children after they depart this world with is al-adab. Adab is a broad term. In its linguistic sense, it means discipline. And surely this is something that is encompassed in the word adab. Imagine someone leaves this world, dies, and their children lack basic discipline, basic manners. They project this personality that is devoid of akhlaq, devoid of honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, bravery, generosity, all of these things. What do people say about the father? You'll often hear people saying, the father was a good man. Their mother was a good woman. She would attend the Majalis. She would go to Ziarat. She would cook for Imam al-Hussein's gatherings and all that. But look at how the kids turned out. Even when adding this caveat about the parents being good people, you can't help but feel that there was a blemish, there was a flaw in the way they raised their children. And so the Imam says that the best thing you can leave your children with is akhlaq and adab. Teach them this. As I said last night, have a clear plan for your parenting. Ensure that you are deliberate, that it's not haphazard. It's not, yeah, we became parents and we kind of did the best we could. No, the best you could is not enough. You have to have a clear parenting philosophy that when it comes to my child's generosity, how do I instill this value in them? When it comes to their perhaps integrity and trustworthiness and reliability, and for them to uphold their responsibilities towards other people when they make a promise, their honesty. What did you do in order to make your child an honest person? What did you do to have a child who is brave, a child who's not scared, a child who's not intimidated by other people criticizing them for their religiosity, for their hijab, for the way they dress, for the fact that they mourn Imam al-Hussain? What did you do in that way? Oh, I took them to the Majalis and I was hoping that the speakers would do their job and discipline my children. That's not good enough. The speakers have a very limited time. Even the speakers who actually teach us the instructions of the Ahlul Bayt, and there are not many. There's not many of them out there, unfortunately. There are some incredible speakers out there, but that's not the norm. Oftentimes, subjects are discussed from the mimbar that are completely irrelevant. They are what YouTubers call clickbait. They're designed to attract attention or somehow benefit one person or another. That is a sad reality that we face. But even those speakers who are intent on teaching their audience the instructions of the Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet, and the Imams alayhimus salam, even they have a very, very condensed amount of time at their disposal. What's an hour over a 10-day period in an entire year? Nothing. Our religion is a robust and complex set of instructions and morals and teachings. Biharul Anwar, the magnum opus of Al-Allama Muhammad Baqir Al-Majlisi, may Allah bless his soul and raise him until he is raised with the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam themselves, has a book that spans 110 volumes. How much of that is a speaker able to impart on the audience? There has to be a plan where the parents take responsibility, hold the reins, hold the bull by the horns, as they say. And as I mentioned last night, the last thing you want to do is delegate your parenting to society, to the school, to the mosque, or even to the local alim. You don't want to do that. Delegating your tasks and your responsibilities as a parent to society is like trusting a drug addict with your wallet. Who does that? There are too many wolves in sheep's skin, and they have begun to bare their sharp fangs. Before it was a little more subtle, a little more discreet. Now they're openly doing it. And so do you trust the system with your children's upbringing and child rearing? That is the worst form of the dereliction of your duties as a parent. So the Imam says that you need to discipline them, teach them, and that is the best thing you can leave them when you leave this world. They will be a source of honor. They will project the goodness within you after you've departed from this world. And the hadith says that when a person dies, they will be severed from this world, meaning that they will have no access to doing good deeds so as to cleanse their sins or elevate their status in the afterlife, except through a very small, limited number of things, one of which is waladun salihun yad'u lah, a good son or daughter who prays for their parents, prays for them, and is a reflection of the moral compass that they provided their children with after they've departed. In other words, this is your biggest investment. It's not buying a house. It's not giving them a good secular education so that they could earn a stable position or a good job or have a career. All those things are secondary and tertiary. Your biggest investment in life, when deciding how much of your time and energy and your wealth you wish to allocate to your child's discipline and upbringing, this is your biggest investment, your number one priority. SubhanAllah, when you look at our scholars, people often imagine that these scholars are geniuses, but that's not the case. We had scholars who were geniuses. But even a genius has to exert maximum effort to achieve their potential. Someone who's so smart that they could memorize a passage or a mathematical formula by examining it just one time. Even they have to work hard. They have to study, they have to learn, they have to spend many sleepless nights before they're able to invent something, before they're able to contribute to society. For example, even the likes of Al-Shaykh Al-Baha'i, Ridwanullahi ta'ala alayh, this great scholar, lived over 400 years ago. And when you look at his accolades, it's bobsmacking. It's absolutely mesmerizing to see what he's able to achieve. He was what we now call a polymath, meaning he was an expert in more than one discipline. It takes a lifetime to become an expert in any one given discipline. And yet, scholars have stated that he has proved his expertise in at least 25 different disciplines, 25 fields of science, from jurisprudence to linguistics to mathematics to physics to architecture to geometry. And I'm not just saying this. You could go to the city of Isfahan and you will see his artistry and his mastery of those disciplines on display. The biggest and most ornate and most beautiful mosque in Isfahan was designed and built by Shaykh al-Baha'i. He was an architect of the highest caliber. His knowledge and expertise in physics and chemistry was absolutely incredible. I'll give you one example. You might have heard this. There's a bathhouse named after Shaykh al-Baha'i in Isfahan. It was open up until about 20 or 30 years ago. Now it's a heritage listed site and it's closed to the public. However, it was open where people could actually go and take a bath there only a few decades ago. The entire bath was designed by Shaykh al-Baha'i and it was run, meaning the water was boiled using just one candle. One candle. In other words, it had no external energy source except a candle. And this mesmerized and baffled people for the last 4 centuries. How is the water in this bathhouse always hot when the only energy source is a candle? Recently, someone conducted research and looked into it, someone who's in charge of the Department of Innovation or something along those lines. And what they found was that Sheikh al-Baha'i did at least two things. Number one, the boiler in the house, in the bathhouse, was made of gold, which is one of the best metals to use, as it conducts heat and electricity better than any other metal. And that's part of the reason why they closed down the bathhouse. And this wasn't it wasn't spoken about in the media too much, because they were afraid that thieves would come and steal the boiler. The other thing he did, which is, again, absolutely incredible, 400 years ago. We're talking about a scholar, not an imam. What he had done was that he had designed the old city of Isfahan. Again, he was the city planner and the architect for the entire city, despite being a jurist and despite being a linguist and a mathematician and an astronomer and all that, such that the sewage system would be connected to the bathhouse. Now imagine, with all the sewage coming into the bathhouse in a very elaborate system that he had designed, the methane gas, which is a highly flammable and combustible gas that was being generated by the city's sewage, was then used in order to create the boiler, to heat the water, and to provide almost an endless amount of boiling water for this bathhouse. Subhanallah. How is it that our scholars were like this? And yet nowadays, you look at someone like me and you look at some other youth out there, and you're like, we've made zero progress. People often talk about how, Islam had a golden age, which, by the way, I don't subscribe to that. The so-called golden age of Islam was not during the oppressive, tyrannical Abbasid Caliphate, because that was the age when Ahlul Bayt were being persecuted and the Shia were being killed left, right, and center. And what they mean by the golden age is that some Greek philosophy books were translated into Arabic and some inventions were made, which had nothing to do with the Abbasid Caliphate. You can't credit Harun, alayhi la'inullah, the killer of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, for being the force behind the innovations that were made. The innovations were made partly because of the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. Imam al-Sadiq, one of his students was Jabir ibn Hayyan, one. And he begins every chapter of his book on chemistry, سمعت سيدي ومولاي جعفر بن محمد الصادق يقول كذا وكذا. He would quote Imam al-Sadiq in his books. Now, the point is that there were periods in our history where inventions were made. Scholars were pioneers of not just jurisprudence and exegesis and other related disciplines and sciences that are connected to our religion, but also so-called secular sciences. Is that possible for us to revive? Inshallah, we'll talk about this in a subsequent lecture. Absolutely. But my point here is that, take another example from the contemporary age. Grand Ayatollah Sheikh Wahid Khurasani, may Allah bless him and elevate his status and give him a long and healthy life of service to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, the Dean of the Islamic Seminary in the holy city of Qom. He's over 100 years old now. Sheikh Wahid Khurasani was only 19 when he began attending the highest level of classes within the Islamic seminaries known as Dars al-Kharij of Grand Ayatollah Mirza Mahdi Isfahani in the holy city of Mashhad. He was only 19 years old. My own father was about 18 years old when he started attending Dars al-Kharij. Other scholars and mujtahideen and maraja. Now imagine when you start attending Dars al-Kharij, which is the most complex discussions about jurisprudence and deductive jurisprudence, where you extrapolate. It's the process of extrapolating religious rulings from its primary sources. So you need to be very well versed and be an expert, in fact, in the Holy Quran and its exegesis. You need to be an expert in hadith. You need to be an expert in the opinions of other scholars and so on. for you to start attending these classes at the age of 18 means how much work had to go into your discipline and your education by that time. Sheikh Wahid says that I attended those classes when I was 19. Then I went to Najaf. At the age of 25, a 25-year-old now is most likely, at best, a YouTuber, if they're lucky. At best, they're a gamer. They spend their time playing video games. He says, at the age of 25, I was invited by the supreme marja of the day, Grand Ayatollah Sayyid Abu al-Hasan al-Isfahani, to recite the Majalis and give lectures in his home, which if you take the position of Sayyid Abu al-Hasan al-Isfahani, it would be equivalent to that of Sayyid Sistani now, if not greater. Because he was the only marja. All the followers of the Ahlul Bayt emulated Sayyid Abu al-Hasan. The official Majlis in the Sayyid's home was held, and the speaker was this 25-year-old student from Mashhad, Sheikh Wahid Khurasan. He says, I recited the lectures, I delivered the Majalis, and those in attendance were the future maraja' of the day. Sayyid Abu al-Qasim al-Khoi, Sayyid al-Shahrudi. People of that caliber. They were the audience members. Imagine what level of knowledge you'd have to have these individuals listening to you. Whether there's any room for error. Sayyid al-Hakim, Sayyid Muhsin al-Hakim was in attendance. So he says, I delivered the Majalis 5 nights. After every Majlis, these grand scholars, Sayyid al-Khoi, Shahrudi, Hakim, as well as others, would all say, Ahsant, Ahsant, Tayyaballah anfasakum. May Allah bless you for that beneficial lecture and that majlis and the remembrance of Imam al-Hussain. Barakallahu feek. You know, words of praise and encouragement. But they wouldn't say this lightly though. If somebody didn't do a good enough job, a marja', a jurist, a faqih of that caliber wouldn't say, may Allah bless you for that lecture. He says, I did all that, and the people would encourage me, the scholars would encourage me, they would praise me, except Sayyid Abu al-Hasan al-Isfahani. He never said a word. Night 1, night 2, night 3, after 5 nights, I got off the mimbar. Sayyid Abu al-Hasan called me. He said, tomorrow meet me in my hujra, meaning the dorm that's allocated to seminary students in such and such school in the holy city of Najaf. I want you to come and see me at 8 a.m. He said, absolutely, Sayyidina, I'll be there. He said, so I went there a little earlier. I didn't want the marja' to sit there waiting for me. So I stood outside in the courtyard. I waited for the Sayyid to arrive. He went up to his dorm, his room. We sat there. He said to me, Barakallahu feek. There were really good majalis that you recited. May Allah bless you. May Allah increase your knowledge. However, next year, I'd like to invite you back. But when I do, make sure that you have improved your majalis. If you recited the same level of majalis and lectures, I will be displeased with you. I want you to improve yourself, even though they were very good. Then he said to me, the Shaykh says, he said that, he quoted a hadith of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He said, Man tasawa yawmah fahuwa maghboon. Whoever feels that yesterday and today are equal, meaning that he or she did not improve, then they're at a loss. Maghboon is someone who enters into a financial transaction and ends up losing. Amir al-Mu'mineen says that if today is equal, not worse. If it's worse, the Imam says, فَهُوَ مَلْعُونَ. This person's cursed. If I ever find myself feeling that last year in Muharram I was a better Muslim, I was more devout, I was more pious, I was more attentive to my religious obligations, and this year I feel like I've gone a few steps back, there is serious reasons for concern. So he said, the Sayyid told me, "Man tasawa yawmah fahuwa maghboon." I am teaching you this now because 40 years ago, my own teacher in this very room said the same thing to me. In other words, I am who I am now because I always strive to be better, to improve myself. If I feel like, let's say for example, my prayers now include the bare bones minimum. I perform my obligatory salawat, and this is the best I can do at the moment. I have to strive that from the end of Muharram or after the day of Ashura, my prayers should be improved. They should be better. My wudu has to be improved. If I don't pray recommended prayers, for example, whether it's Al-Ghufayla, Wutayra, Salatul Layl, or any of those things, if I don't do that now, I should strive to start to do that next year. You don't have to overwhelm yourself. You don't have to suddenly start to become the most religious person in town. Start with small incremental steps. With Salatul Layl, do one rak'ah. One rak'ah. And then maybe in 6 months' time, when you get used to it, you could then do another rak'ah. And then in 5 years' time, you're doing Salatul Layl and you have no issues with it whatsoever. If my hijab now is a bare bones minimum kind of hijab, I should strive to make it better. If, for example, I wear makeup in public as of now, and of course, there are always justifications for that. What people might think, whether I'm going to find a husband or not, my family says you should do this, it's only foundation, and it doesn't actually show. Well, I mean, if it didn't show, then why am I putting it on? Surely it shows something, it reveals something. If I am suffering from this problem, then I will strive from the day of Ashura or the beginning of Muharram not to do that anymore. If it's a sin, it definitely has to be avoided. But if it's a matter of virtue, then let's try to incrementally and gradually increase the things that we do. Because before you know it, and I'm addressing the youth especially and the children, before you know it, you'll be 30 years old and 40 years old and 50 years old. And at that point in your life, your personality's been molded and it's fixed. You won't be able to do much after that. You'll be too busy and too distracted. You'll be overwhelmed with your personal lives and your responsibilities and your issues and your diseases and sicknesses and pains and aches and so on and so forth. Start now so that by that time, you'll be in a very good position. This is how our scholars were, and this is how they are. They strive hard, they work hard. Remember the hadith, I'm sure you've heard this hadith many times before, where the Holy Prophet, as well as subsequent Imams, they divide the life of a child into 3 phases, 7 years each, right? You've heard the hadith, I don't want to get into it too much. You've got the first 7 years where the Imams tell us, Da'hu yal'ab. Let him play. Don't try to overburden him or her. Don't put too much pressure on them, where they have to learn things and they have to memorize things and they have to read all of these books. Don't do that. Give them space to play, to express themselves as children, their inner as well as outer child to manifest itself. Let them let off some steam. That's the point. 7 years of giving them a free time and space. By the way, there's another hadith which I've talked about in previous lectures in previous years. Allahu Akbar. There's another hadith which elaborates further on those first 7 years, which again, I don't want to get into. because I've spoken about this before. It'll take some time. But the Imam provides very specific instructions on what to teach your children at what point in their childhood. For example, and I'll just give you a bit of a taster, so that you could look up the hadith and examine it and study it yourselves as parents. The Imam says, at the age of 3, they should be taught to say La ilaha illallah. At the age of 3. You know, in this culture that's now taken over the whole world, we have false milestones. We have our birthday parties, which are all about the cake and the balloons and kids playing and things of that nature, when in fact, those same birthday parties, you can have them if you want, but give them a religious theme. Don't make them all about the gifts and the toys and the games and the clowns. Give them a religious theme. Connect your children to their religion, to their faith. So the Imam says at the age of 3, they should be taught to say La ilaha illallah, and to do so 7 times. Then the Imam says, leave them until the next phase. In other words, don't push them too much after that. Don't try and teach them all about Tawheed and predestination and whatnot when they're only 3 years old. Teach them to say La ilaha illallah. There is a spiritual benefit in doing this, in addition to the fact that you are introducing them to the concept of Tawheed and the unicity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that tender age. Then listen to this. It's absolutely mesmerizing. The Imam says that at the age of 3 years, 7 months, and 20 days, these are not arbitrary numbers. There's a reason behind this. What it is, I have no clue. But the same Imam that teaches me about heaven and hell and the afterlife and what happens is the one who's teaching me this. At the age of 3, 7 months, and 20 days, teach them to say Muhammadun Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I think the Holy Prophet and the Imam of the time, who's the host of these Majalis, deserves a lateral salawat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. A third one for the hastening of the reappearance of the master of the time, Al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajjal farajahum. Ya Allah. So the Imam says that at that specific point, on the day, on the dot, teach them that the messenger of Allah is the Holy Prophet. Then, and say that 7 times. Then the Imam says, at the age of 4, in other words, a few months after that, about 5 months after that, teach them to say, Sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In other words, introduce them to Allah at the age of 3. Introduce them to His Messenger at the age of 3 or 7 months and 20 days. Introduce them to the family of the Holy Prophet at the age of 4. Then at the age of 5, the Imam says, see if they can tell their right hand from their left hand. Subhanallah. If they have the cognizance, the ability, the mental prowess to tell their right from their left hand, at that point, you have them face the Qibla and to perform sujood only. Not the whole prayers, just facing the Qibla and to do sujood. Then at the age of 6, the Imam says, have them wash their face and their hands. Not the whole wudu, just the face and the hands. And then get them to do ruku' and sujood. Then at the age of 7, the Imam says, teach them to perform wudu in its entirety and try and perform salah in a more complete way. And then at the age of 9, they should perform prayers properly. What this means, one of the lessons we take from this is that these are the true, real milestones that we should be rewarding. The Holy Prophet says in a famous hadith, he complains about the parents of the latter days. He says, woe unto these children. I feel sorry for them from their parents. Someone said, Ya Rasulullah, from their idol-worshipping parents? He said, no, min abaihimul mu'mineen. Their parents are actually Muslims, they're believers. But still, I feel sorry for those children. Why, Ya Rasulullah? He said, because they don't teach them their religious obligations. They don't take time out of their busy schedules, browsing social media sites, to actually teach them something that's meaningful. The Holy Prophet says in a beautiful and famous hadith, he says, "Addibu awladakum." Discipline your children with these three things. What are they, Ya Rasulullah? He said, "Hubba nabiyyikum," the love of their Prophet. "Wa hubba ahli baytih," and the love of his family. And number three, tilawatul Quran, to recite the Holy Quran. This requires discipline. It requires a deliberate plan for parenting once again. Ya Ali. Ya Ali. So, the Prophet then says to his companions, he says that these parents, they couldn't care less about religion when it comes to their children's upbringing. And if their children go out and educate themselves about their religious obligations, they discourage them. They tell them, why are you an extremist now? You're praying all these prayers, for example. You want to go to Ziarat, you want to do this, you want to do that. They discourage them. And I've seen this way too many times. So then the Prophet makes a declaration. It's a siren of warning to all of us. He says, these parents, inni minhum bari wa hum minni bara. I disassociate from these parents, to highlight the severity of this negligent type of parenting. Teach them what they need. Anyway, the greatest parents were the Ahlul Bayt. And they raised children who were like no other. Even those who were not infallible. They were normal children, but who had the privilege of being raised in a family with a father like Imam Al Hussain, a father like Imam Al Hassan, a father like Amir Al Mu'mineen. Obviously, every once in a while, there's an anomaly. There's a child who is insubordinate, a child who veers off from the path of the Ahlul Bayt. This is true also of the families of the prophets. It happens. The parents could exert every effort, but then society is a dangerous place. And so these children grew up in the most splendid manner. When Imam al-Hassan was about to depart this world, he left instructions, his last will and testament, with his beloved brother Abu Abdullah al-Hussain. One of which was this. He says, Kun li awladi aban wa ra'iya. Ya Abu Abdullah, I wish for you to look after my children. I'm leaving this world and they're going to be orphaned. Al-Qasim ibn al-Hassan grew up in the lap of his uncle Abu Abdullah since he was 3 years old. Not only was Al-Qasim an orphan, which meant that Imam al-Hussain dedicated everything to his well-being and his protection, and so that he doesn't feel like an orphan, he doesn't remember that he doesn't have a father. Not only did he do that because Qasim was an orphan. Imam al-Hussain himself, in the Ziyarat we say, كنت للمؤمنين أبا رحيما. Imam al-Hussain was the most merciful person. He is like a father to all of us. Let alone when it comes to his brother's son, about whom Imam al-Hassan left specific instructions. Look after my children. Allahu Akbar. Who? Imam al-Hassan. Imam al-Hussain would never utter a word in the presence of his brother Imam al-Hassan. As great and lofty as Imam al-Hussain was, he would call his brother Sayyidi, Mawlai. He was the Imam of Imam al-Hussain. This kind of father, this kind of uncle, and this kind of child, you can only imagine the sort of relationship that Imam al-Hussain had with his nephew Al-Qasim. I can't open up this tragedy too much, but I will say a few things. Number one, Imam al-Hussain never fainted on the plains of Karbala. Not when his son Ali al-Akbar fell to the ground. And Imam al-Hussain rushed to him saying, Waladi Ali ala dunya ba'daka al-afa. Imam al-Hussain did not faint. Imam al-Hussain didn't lose consciousness. Not when Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas fell saying, Akhi adrik akhak, brother, come to my rescue. Imam al-Hussain didn't lose consciousness. He didn't faint. There's only one moment, one time in the entire saga of Ashura when Imam al-Hussain fell unconscious, and that was when Al-Qasim came bidding him farewell and asking him for permission to head into the battlefield. أجرك الله بقية الله يا حجة ابن الحسن. Tonight is a special night because it was special to Abu Abdullah. Imam al-Hussain did things and said things regarding Al-Qasim ibn al-Hasan that were unique to him. After Ali al-Akbar was martyred, Imam al-Hussain cried out, ألا هل من ناصر ينصرنا لوجه الله. فدوى لك أبو علي. ألا هل من داب يذب عن حرم رسول الله. Is there no one to protect the women of Rasulullah? Al-Qasim emerged from his tent saying, Labbayka ya Amma. Here I am at your beck and call. Al-Qasim can't bear to see his uncle plead for help. Al-Qasim also yearns to meet his father again. Al-Qasim can't bear to stay alive and then see his aunt Zainab in chains. He rushes to his uncle. He says to him, Ya Am, let me go. Ali al-Akbar was just killed. Let me go. I wish to be reunited with my father. Imam al-Hussain said, absolutely not. You're not going. Now others, when they came to Abu Abdullah asking for permission, they would also have to plead with him. But in this case, the Imam was adamant. No, how could I let you go? Your father left me with instructions to look after you. He said, be a father to them. How do I let you go and then see you be devoured by these beasts? No, you're not going. Al-Qasim pleaded yet again. It didn't work. The reporters say that he then kneeled and began kissing his uncle's hand. فألقى بنفسه يقبل يد عمه. When that didn't work, he then dropped to the ground and began kissing his uncle's feet. He kissed his hands and feet. The reporter says that eventually they embraced one another. فَغُشِيَ عَلَيْهِمَا. For the first and last time, they both fell unconscious. Imam al-Hussein, your Imam, O Shia, fainted from the gravity of this tragedy, from what was about to happen to Al-Qasim, the son of his beloved son Hassan, his brother Hassan. Some have said that when the Imam refused to give him permission, Al-Qasim went to his mother, or perhaps to his aunt Zainab, saying, my uncle said to me last night that I would be one of those killed tomorrow, but now he's refusing to let me go. You never see that day, but there are parents whose children are diagnosed with leukemia or another debilitating illness. They will then have to sign a waiver for their children to receive treatment in the form of chemotherapy, which absolutely destroys this young child. May Allah never show you that. Even though the father signs the form and gives permission, when it's actually time to perform the operation or to start injecting poison into their veins, the father says, I can't do this. Imam al-Hussein did tell him on the eve of Ashura, when Al-Qasim asked the Imam, will I be among those who get killed tomorrow? Oh uncle, Ya Aba Abdullah, you just told everyone that they would meet their death. You even said Ali Asghar would be killed. What about me? Choose me. Imam al-Hussein asked him perhaps to tell all of us until the day of judgment who Al-Qasim was, who the son of Imam al-Hassan was. He said to him, كيف الموت عندك? How do you perceive death? He responded by saying, فيك, in your way, أحلى من العسل. It is sweeter than honey, O uncle, Ya Aba Abdullah. Mother, my father told me that I'd be killed tomorrow, but now he can't give me permission. He won't. So she said to him, you know that armband that you have? Go and open it. There is going to be a note. Take that note and hand it to your uncle. He went to his uncle. Imam al-Hussein opened the letter. It was one from his brother Imam al-Hassan Abu Muhammad, and it said, oh brother, Ya Aba Abdullah, on the day you are all alone without any helpers, I ask you to let my son take my place. Please, oh Aba Abdullah, my words, I know I asked you to be like a father to them, but on this day, if I were there, I would die for you too, so let him go. Eventually, Imam al-Hussein gives him permission to leave begrudgingly. Allahu Akbar. The Imam then wanted to put a helmet over his head, but the helmet is too big. He's only 13 years old. There is not a strand of hair on his face. So he threw the helmet. He tried to make him wear a shield of some kind, but that was too big for him too. Instead, the Imam took off his turban. He then cut it in half. It was too big. He wrapped the young boy's head 7 times with his turban. He wrapped it very tight. Imam al-Hussein knows what's about to happen. Maybe the turban will shield him from those swords. Eventually, Al-Qasim was like, I'm going. He ran towards the battlefield. Hamid ibn Muslim, who's the narrator of the events of Ashura, He says, Baraza ilayna ghulamun. A young boy came into the battlefield. Wajhuhu kafilqati qamar. His face was like a fragment of the moon. It shined. He was that beautiful. Some people said, didn't we already kill Ali ibn al-Hussain, meaning Ali ibn al-Akbar? Who's this young boy? Does Imam Hussain have another son? That's when he introduced himself. He said, In tunkiruni fa ana najlul Hasan. If you don't recognize me, you should know that I am the son of Hassan. نجل النبي سبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن. My father is the grandson of Rasulullah. Again, I don't want to open the tragedy too much. It was a matter of a few moments when Imam al-Hussein heard his voice saying, Aghithni ya Amma, my uncle, come to me. By the time Aba Abdullah reached his nephew, وَكَانَ الْغُلَامُ يَفْحَصُ بِرِجْلِهِ. The dust had settled and the young boy was shaking his feet in the ground. Imam al-Hussein said something he never said anywhere else. He says, Azza alayya. Oh, my son, my nephew, this is painful for me. Hussein!
बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा. 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 और शबीर है मुश्किल में, शबीर है मुश्किल में, कासम बेताब खड़ा. बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा. बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा. ओ तालब है इजाजत का रन में जल्दी जाकर. तालब है इजाजत का रन में जल्दी जाकर. अली अकबर से पहले, अली अकबर से पहले पियो जाम शहादत का. बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा. बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा. बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा। ओ उस वक्त बदन टुकड़े टुकड़े किया जालिमों ने, उस वक्त बदन टुकड़े टुकड़े किया जालिमों ने। फिर लाशाए कासम पे, फिर लाशाए कासम पे घोड़ों को दिया दौड़ा, बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा। बाबा की वसीयत पे कासम है अमल पैरा। वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह। नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, हाय वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। ओ कुल तेरा साला कासम, कुल तेरा साला कासम, ओ मातू होया जुदाए कासम दी भर जवानी, बेटी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, बेटी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, बेटी नारज के माए। बिस्मिल्लाह। लजपाल कैसी माए अल्लाह दी रजा लई, लजपाल कैसी माए हाय अल्लाह दी रजा लई, बचड़े दी मौत कीते, बचड़े दी मौत कीते, मंगदी रही दुआए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। बिस्मिल्लाह। ठीक आए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। और कुछ घोड़े आद सुम्मा बिच रह गए न टुकड़े, कुछ घोड़े आद सुम्मा बिच रह गए न टुकड़े, कुछ चुन के कटड़ी दे विच, कुछ चुन के कटड़ी दे विच, आंदे हुसैन चाहे कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। मिलके जी मिलके करे। कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए कासम दी भर जवानी, वेखी नारज के माए। हो बाबे दी मन वसीयत कीता हैरान जग नू बाबे दी मन वसीयत कीता हैरान जग नू इंज कर भला चिकासम इंज कर भला चिकासम हो पामाल हो गया कासम दी भर जवानी वेखी नारद की माए कासम दी भर जवानी वेखी नारद के माए
जिसने सजदा किया
चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले
माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह
यो भाई
मिल के ड्यूटी करें यही तो दिन ने दो चार
जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले चांद ज़ारा का था असगर ने की जा फिदा कासम के टुकड़े हुए आना मोहम्मद अब्बास
आए अकबर भी मारे गए
सारे जहां में जिसका कोई ना रहा चांद ज़ारा का था है सारे जहां में जिसका कोई ना रहा चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले बिस्मिल्लाह चांद ज़ारा का था सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था आज जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले जिसने सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले
माशाल्लाह
चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले सजदा किया चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले वीरान करबो बला आबाद जिसने किया उम्मत ने क्यों बेहदा काटा है उसका गला गला लो के सिना पे जिसने कुरान पढ़ा चांद ज़ारा का था है नो के सिना पे जिसने कुरान पढ़ा चांद ज़ारा का था खंजर तले अल्लामा 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 आय अल्लामा 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 बोलो जी आए गुस्ताहों के हजूम में गुस्ताहों के हजूम में ज़ैनब की दरमियान अल्लामा 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 हाय गुस्ताहों के हजूम में गुस्ताहों के हजूम में ज़ैनब की दरमियान अल्लामा 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 सदाजियों पे माशाअल्लाह माशाअल्लाह हैरान हूँ बाजार से कैसे गुजर गई हैरान हूँ बाजार से कैसे गुजर गई तताहीर की पली थी तताहीर की पली थी बाजार का सामान अल्लामा 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 सलामत रहे सलामत हाय अल्लामा 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 ये सोच के सजाद का दिल ने रो पड़ा ये सोच के सजाद का दिल ने रो पड़ा तफसीर बेरदा थी तफसीर बेरदा थी नेज़ब था कुरान अल्लामा 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 बिस्मिल्लाह हाय अल्लामा 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 अल्लामा
बीबी कबूल करें आपका पुरसा।
क्यों बार बार लेते हो तुम नाम बलवाम में, क्यों बार बार लेते हो तुम नाम बलवाम में। मर जाएगी बाजार में, मर जाएगी बाजार में, आए आज मेरी माँ। अल्लाह माँ, 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 अल्लाह माँ। सदा जी हो पाए।
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, आए
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन,
आए या हुसैन,
या
सारे
हुसैन।
बोलो सदके।
हाय या हुसैन, या हुसैन,
आए
या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन,
आए
या हुसैन, या हुसैन,
हाँ जी। आए तेरा लहू
राएगा ना जाएगा, तेरा लहू राएगा ना जाएगा। बहन का वादा है ये रंग जरूर लाएगा। है दीन की बका बिना लाला हुसैन बादशाह। या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन। आप बोलो बिस्मिल्लाह। या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन। आए या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन।
हाँ जी, अंतरा सुनना है, सानी पे फिर मातम करना है।
तुझे ज़माने में अपने पराए रोएंगे, तुझे ज़माने में अपने पराए रोएंगे। सजाद तेरी वो मजलूमियत बताएगा। दीन की बका बिना लाया हुसैन बादशाह। या हुसैन, 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 या हुसैन।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद। अस्सलामु अलैका या रसूल अल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या नबी अल्लाह, अस्सलामु अलैका या बाइस अल हुदा, अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुह, अस्सलामु अलैकी या खदीजतल कुबरा, अस्सलामु अलैकी या उम्मुल मुमिनीन, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم أمير المؤمنين يا علي المرتضى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا بنت محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي الولي الناصح السيد الزكي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي وعلى زينب الحسين وعلى عباس الحسين المقطوع اليدين. السلام عليك يا تسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، علي بن الحسين زين العابدين وقرة عين الناظرين. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا باب الحوائج يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا أنيس النفوس. السلام عليك أيها المدفون بأرض طوس، السلطان العرب والعجم يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى الرضا الراضي بالقدر والقضاء. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الحادي النقي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي الذكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا حجة الله. السلام عليك يا بقية الله. السلام عليك يا سيدي ويا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك، وجعلنا من خير أعوانه وأنصاره وشيعته والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم جميع أهل البيت ورحمة الله وبركاته. الفاتحة.